Well, 5 minutes past 8 a.m. and of course we're in the second hour of Smart Men's Business here to kickstart your day. Of course, driving you till 9:50 a.m. and of course don't forget the markets in Zabu are going to be open just 10 minutes from now. That is 8:15 a.m. and of course you can reach out to Zabu if you dial *292# and for the prompts, or you could learn about the products, or you could go straight to the bonds and of course invest as low as 15,000 Uganda shillings. So Zabu is powered by Altex East Africa and they're telling you to do something new. It's the year 2023. Why not? And of course they work from Monday to Friday except for public holidays, which I don't think we have in this month or in this week. So from 8:15 a.m. to 3:50 p.m., that is approximately 6-7 working hours. So you can reach out to Zabu and know their products, think on how you can invest with them. And of course, powered by Altex East Africa, they're telling you to do something new. It's the year 2023. Well, of course, as you know, Smart Business is always here to motivate you, to make sure that you are geared up for the day, and of course, get yourself running, get the brain working. It's morning, and of course, for most people, morning hours are their active hours. So beyond the midday till late in the evening, some people are off, people are drained. So make sure that morning hours are your hours of when you're actually stable. When you're stable, you can think thoroughly. So what you need is to get motivated, get inspired. Let's be inspired for the day. Well, of course, you have to be that one person that actually gives positive energy. You have to be the positive change around people. So, and of course, successful entrepreneurs are givers, not takers of positive energy. You as an entrepreneur, what have you done to make sure that people around you are actually follow in your footsteps? Or have you encouraged them, or you've told them negative things? No. The way you succeeded is the same way you're supposed to lead them in the straight line, okay? Do not be giving them negative energy and telling them, oh no, you see, no, I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can do it either. If you did, then they could do it. Be positive. Be that source of inspiration for people that are planning to start up businesses, that are planning to get themselves involved in different careers, which is actually really good, okay? Be that source of positive energy that a person needs. They can run to and be like, oh, you know what, Mercy, you know what, Andrew, I don't feel right today. What can you do? Talking to them only alone and telling you their experience could be could give you energy to work the day on.
Yeah, absolutely, very true on that. You give out something, you don't really take it away from the people, most especially if it's adding something to them. I strongly believe in that, because actually once you impact people positively, you empower them to also empower you somewhere in the future. You never know what might actually befall you as a result of that. Well, now as we head into our other discussion in here, today we are talking about the budget priorities. That is for the financial year 2024 and 2025.
Yeah.
I remember the biggest portion for the previous budget was, of course, human capital development. But this time around, away from the priorities, like taking a look at the deep perspectives of the priorities, there is this aspect of economic recovery, and this has been, of course, broken down into various parts, which include the parish development model. There is support for small and intermediate enterprises,
and agriculture.
They are investing in agriculture, tourism, and all those other key sectors. But then, taking a look at the parish development model this time around, of course, it's still at its early stages. Despite the few sorts of challenges that have been experienced in terms of corruption, we've seen matters of that. Karamoja was actually part of the leaders when the President Museveni was there last year. They talked about the corruption and all that, but definitely that is always expected for any of the young programs in here, because we know the President clearly said it's the last mile strategy, and if we are talking about achieving the goals of the National Development Plan 3, which we are winding up, the parish development model has actually a role to play. Talking about a self-sustaining economy from that perspective. Then we also see there is the aspect of the small and intermediate enterprises, since these account about 20%, and actually 90% of this economy, 90%, and they employ 70%. Now, these were allocated 500 billion. Okay, roughly. It's just rough estimations. Of course, there will be, you never know, there will be changes as a result of that. So that makes it quite very interesting. But at some point, I feel like it could have been much more than that, because 90% is quite a big fraction.
90% is.
And employing 70%. The 90% employ 70% of the people. So, and 500 billion, and because 500 billion plus 100, that is 1 trillion for the parish development model. That was roughly, that is likely to be allocated. That is for the financial year 2024-2023. Now, of course, we see that the Ugandan government is committed to supporting SMEs, and the government provides SMEs with access to that is finance, training, and other resources to help them grow and succeed. And now, of course, the budget allocation, the estimated budget in here is about 500 billion shillings. Now, of course, even as we look at other aspects, there is investment in key sectors such as agriculture, and there is industry and tourism. Now, agriculture, industry, and tourism are 3 key sectors of the Ugandan economy, and the government is investing in these sectors to create jobs and boost economic growth. That is at the same time. Now, for agriculture's case, now this involves the aspects of value addition. Now, the government is investing in agriculture to increase productivity, first of all, improve food security. Food security and economic growth and development go hand in hand, because if the money that the population would have spent to save is actually spent on what to eat, then that is quite very dangerous for their personal growth. And once they don't grow, the economy is also being lagged behind, because the economy is the people, by the way. It's not the institutes, it's the people. Now, the government is also investing in agro-processing to add value to agriculture products and create jobs at the same time. And now the budget allocation for the financial year 2024-2023, that's why it comes to about 1.2 trillion Ugandan shillings. Now, of course, when we talk about the industry, which is another sector that is for Uganda's economy, it accounts for over 20% of GDP and employs over 10% that is of the workforce. Now, the government is investing in industry to promote value addition and create jobs at the same time. And the government is also investing in infrastructure and skills training to support growth of the industrial sector. Now, the budget allocation now comes back to 1 trillion Ugandan shillings. And looking at tourism also being part of the other sectors where the government is considering priority. Now, all these steps we are looking into are all the steps and economic recovery. Now, the tourism is a growing sector that is of Ugandan economy, and it's expected to contribute about 10% of GDP. That is by 2030. Now the government is investing in tourism to promote Uganda as a tourist destination, but also it's creating jobs. Now the government is also still investing in infrastructure and conservation that is to support the growth of tourism sector. But now the bigger question in here is, how can businesses benefit as a result of this? Well, okay, you found out the 2024-2025 budget has been allocated. What does it mean to you as a business person? Very key sector. It's not just maybe, I believe, it's not information that you get. Now, of course, we know that the budget is focused on building an integrated, independent and self-sustaining economy. Now, this focus presents a number of opportunities for the different businesses to actually benefit. Now here are some of the key tips from as the team we've been able to give out to you there on how the businesses can actually position themselves to benefit that is from this budget. Now, of course, there is the aspect of focusing on key sectors. Now, the government, of course, is heavily investing in a number of key sectors, including agriculture, like we mentioned. There is also oil and gas tourism and private sector growth. Now, we see that businesses that can position themselves to benefit from this investment are well placed to succeed in the coming years. So think about these. You can position yourself to invest in agriculture sector, see how you can partner with government, and this will be quite effective. Then there is also the aspect of investing in technology. The government is also investing in digital transformation and automation at the same time, and we see that businesses that can invest in technology to improve their efficiency and productivity will actually also be more competitive in the global marketplace. Now, there is also this other perspective, partnering with the government. The government is committed to supporting the private sector, and we see that businesses can also partner with actually government to ensure that they can access resources and expertise with the specific perspectives of that. That is quite, I think, very key.
I mean, that is what we were discussing earlier in the morning for people to actually, the reason as to why the budget is actually, they give time prior. Prior for, it's just that for people to be aware on where to invest in. If in this current year you're seeing maybe you have to actually emphasize on the key points they emphasize. If it's agriculture, they talked about it last year, even this year, even this coming year.
Exactly.
As a business person, think on agriculture. That means there is something they see that is big in the nearby future.
So think about it,
Just think
Focus
about
the resources.
Think about tourism. Tourism in the next years is going to be booming in Uganda because, I mean, if we talk about infrastructure, if we improve our infrastructure, accommodation, and all now that they're planning to have, they want to plan to make direct flights to tourist destinations. Trust me, you could also invest in tourism, investing in technology. We've been talking about AI and, of course, advancing, different telecom companies advancing, and now we're in 5G. So definitely, those are the things they're supposed to be focusing. Agriculture, industrialization. We've seen many industries coming up, creating job opportunities for different people. So, and of course, the private sector playing part in all this. It's really key. Very key. Yeah.
And also there is something about, I think it's high time for now for the business owners to actually formalize their businesses, if we are talking about benefiting from such. Because now if we are talking about doing business with government, you have to do things.
Registered.
Exactly.
Have your company registered.
Get your registered.
Pay the required taxes.
Exactly. You pay the taxes. Now also there is the aspect of getting the necessary permits.
Yes,
work permits and licenses. And also make sure that you have all the necessary permits and licenses to operate your business legally in Uganda. Comply with the tax laws. That is something which is definitely you can't avoid. Adopt good corporate governance practices. Of course, this includes having a clear and transparent ownership structure. Following the sound accounting practices and protecting the rights of the shareholders and employees at the same time, because we are talking about sustainability, the economy sustaining itself. So that means an economy, businesses, the small businesses are part of that. a component of that. So once the component of the entire whole structure is well established in terms of licenses, permits, required taxes, clear structures, when it comes to leadership and all that, well, that will definitely aid the youth to benefit from the financial year 2024-2025, because you based on what the government is planning to do and you plan accordingly. Because so many times we see the government does not help us, but are we in line with its vision for that particular financial year? I believe that is also quite a very key question. And that's why the earlier you find out this information, you can actually be in position to execute it. Now, if we look at the CEOs, the middle managers in there, you gotta keep informed, keep your research up to date to make sure that you can actually be in position to reach that very year with prosperity, and enhancing profitability of the country. Stay informed, keep up with the latest user development so that you get an economy and, of course, the government's budget. It's very key because this will actually help you. That is to identify opportunities, that is for your business, and develop strategies to take advantage of them. Now, network with other business leaders, business networks. We've seen different conferences of different countries in here. We can only network from within, but we can also broaden our networks from Kenya and other places. And of course, invest in your employees, provide your employees with the training resources that they need to ensure that they can actually execute this, because this will help you to improve your productivity and competitiveness at the same time.
And of course, we are actually now, the budget actually now, the fact that we passed on the anti-gay law bill, and of course the World Bank holding financial services support to us, I believe this is time for us to wake up and look for means of how to survive, because the president said we can survive without them. So this is the time where you have to be to support your country. So invest in agriculture so that we can have more revenue for the country. We don't have to rely on World Bank and other financial entities. Self-sustaining. So that is really key, actually. That is why they emphasize on agriculture, because agriculture is the backbone of our countries. We have good climate, we have fertile soils that can actually accommodate some produce. And of course, we are planning on, expanding on our exports. If we add value, the more we add value, the more exports we're going to have more exports going out, and we're going to generate more revenue for our country. So maybe
on what you've said, we can have a generous summary of all this about the economic recovery, something as we do a comparison for the financial 2023-2024 and 2024-2025. I request we can have that overall perspective as we can observe that, so we can seek and compare. That is budget allocation for the financial 2023-2024, parish development model, of course in trillion shillings 0.5. And for 2024, now this is in trillion, of course there's the figures you're seeing in there. Now for the financial 2024-2025, it comes back to 1 trillion, and the percentage change is 100%. Yeah, that is okay. And SME support from 0.25, now that's in trillions to 0.5. That is still 100% change. And coming in down to investment in agriculture, industry and tourism, compared to 3 point, you compare 2.5, that is 2023-2024, to 3.8 in the coming year financial year. So you can see there is a shift, and there is an adjustment on the previous allocations. So this time around, we are not experiencing budget cuts. And if we are talking about economic recovery, that means more investment is necessary. We cannot say we are having economic recovery and we are cutting expenditure. There ought to be investment for us to experience that, and that's why the figures really speak out for themselves. 100% change, 100% change SME support, and 100% change in investment in agriculture, industry, and tourism. Well, it's exactly 24 minutes. That is past 8. And of course, looking at budget priorities for the financial year 2024-2025. This is Smart Main's Business, of course, where we bring you this information as we give you the breakdown of this particular topics and matters here. But still on that note is still to remind you that all these conversations you actually hear are probably powered by Zabo. That is a platform from Maltex East Africa. I would just make your trading experience much more easy and friendly. Now, of course, it's quite very easy. Just dial *292#, which is the code in there that enables you to have access to the different perspectives where you can actually buy bonds and securities for just 15,000. You get insurance. Now the markets open at exactly 8:15 a.m. Now as we speak right now, they're already in operation. 10 minutes back, that's when they open, and they will be running up to 3:15 p.m. That is East African time, something effective Monday up to Friday, apart from the weekends and the public holidays. And when these markets cannot be accessed, but of course, like I always say, that's not the big deal. You have the rest of the days to make money, and that's why Zabo confidently comes out and tells you, well, it's my money, it's my future. Maltex East Africa tells you, well, let's do something new. It's an innovative world. Well, now we'll take a short break, and of course, coming up shortly after here, of course, we shall be taking a look at business entertainment, what is happening in there. And this time around, we shall be looking at the most expensive bookings of our artists here. I don't know what Mercy has for us in sports, but definitely when we return, more of those updates are coming up.